And hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. For tonight's podcast episode, I have my good friend Charlie with me. So hello there, everybody.
Hello.
And tonight we are actually paying homage to Arnold Schwarzenegger and the many movies that he's done in his filmography. We did the same thing with Sylvester Stallone. We were talking about this before we aired about 10 Stallone movies, and we're probably going to try and do at least 10 for Arnold if we can. So, with further ado, let's go ahead and get on with it. I'm going to go on ahead and let you talk about some of your favorite Arnold movies, and then after that, I'll go into mine and stuff. We'll just go back and forth a little bit.
Well, I think the first one I want to talk about is like something I just watched recently. Is a movie and then that came out in came out in the 80s, so you know what you're gonna get. That's like early Arnold. But I think the one I wanted to talk about recently is I just watched this on HBO Max. It's called Raw Deal. This is a really entertaining one. It's like the early 80s. It's essentially he plays Kaminsky, and so he was a former FBI guy or whatever until like the one guy specifically screwed him over. So he's working as a kind of like a low town sheriff, and so his buddy of his son just got killed in the FBI. So this is kind of like a mob movie in a sense because it's like dealing with the I think it's like the mafia. Like so there's a mob that killed a guy in witness protection and ended up killing this guy's his son. I think his name is So it's the film tells the story of an elderly and embedded high-ranking FBI chief Harry Shannon, who wants to get revenge against a mafia organization and sends a former FBI agent and now small-time sheriff Mark Kaminsky to destroy the organization from the inside. This movie got bad reviews and its failure box office, whatever, but this is a cult classic. This is 80s Arnold, like, had that one-liner, is like, his wife is all pissed off because he lost the government job, so she's reduced to that, so she's drinking and she's baking, and she wrote something on the cake. She chucks the cake, and he just ducks out of the way, and he goes, you never drink and bake, or whatever. But there's some great action sequences in it. Like he's got this funny one-liners. He's like Joseph P. Brennan. What's the P stand for? And then it's like I'm not gonna air. It's a pretty bad cuss word, but it's like that's what he tells the cop. What's the P stand for? That and then like there's a lot of fight sequences he has in it, but and then it's got the 80s feel. It's got the 80s look to it. It came out in 86. It was right after he did Commando, which we'll talk about in a bit. No, we're not talking about True Lies. We're talking about a movie called Raw Deal. We'll talk about True Lies in a bit, but there's a point in it. It's like, and then there's a lot of like sax and jazz kind of like feel to it, but the sequence, there's just a montage of him getting ready for war. He brought all these guns, so you see him reload, loading up his weapons, every single one that he has, and he puts on a shotgun belt, and then and then he has a great action sequence. Like you were just driving in a car, and he's just shooting everybody while driving in the mine pit, or the coal pit or whatever. But the big one is there's at least 10 to 15 guys in this bar. And he shows up. It's Arnold versus every single one of them, and it's a fantastic shootout. It's a great 80s movie.
So I haven't seen that one, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I believe it's on HBO Max right now. And that's where I was able to watch it again. It's a great one. If they put it in 4K or on Blu-ray, I'll buy it because it's a great Arnold movie. I think it's got a cult classic following to it, but I know it's a very underrated Arnold movie. But it's got a lot of great action sequences in it.
Okay, like I said, I'm gonna have to check that one out. That was one that I haven't heard of before. So normally I'm good with Arnold films. That's pretty much my biggest filmography. If you think about it, when it comes down to action movies, aside from Sylvester Stallone movies, I've seen a lot of Arnold movies and stuff like that. So that's gonna be one that I'm gonna wind up checking out on HBO Max probably tomorrow night after I get done reviewing the Friday the 13th remake with Paige. Yeah. So.
Hey, if I can give you at least 1 to 2 you haven't seen, it'll be right up there with the Stallone movies. Because there's at least 2 you haven't seen. Like Cobra is definitely an 80s movie. That one is a great Stallone movie we have to review. And then the other one was Tango and Cash. But Raw Deal is a great Arnold movie, like 80s movie. It's got couple one-liners, and there's some pretty intense action sequences in it. There's like some like it's an R-rated movie. I'm not sugarcoating, it's R.
Yeah, Conan was actually a pretty good movie. I remember getting the VHS tape from my grandparents and everything. They had that, and I don't think that was my first Arnold movie. I want to say maybe Kindergarten Cop was. It's hard to tell which one was my first, although I liked Terminator 2. I could just go on and on about different ones that I think that are my first, but Twins is actually good too. But Conan the Barbarian is definitely ranks up there for me. Yeah, they dubbed his voice because of the fact that, they weren't sure people were going to be sold on him, on his language and his dialect or anything like that, because he's from Austria. And his very first film was Pumping Iron at that time, though, too. So fresh off the boat, he winds up doing Pumping Iron. Then I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he also gets Conan a couple of years later, or not too long after that. He gets Conan. And to me, I think Conan is the perfect balance with sci-fi fantasy and mixed in with a lot of action sequences and things like that. I remember vaguely on certain scenes, but it's just been so long since I've seen Conan. But Conan ranks up there for me as a classic Arnold action fantasy type of film that I really enjoy watching from time to time.
Yeah. First one's always the better one. The sequel is not great. They made that. No. They went from R to PG.
Yeah, they should have kept it in the rated R wheelhouse, to be honest with you, because I think that's where they messed up at by making this character PG-13 versus it being rated R.
Yeah. I was shocked when I found out the sequel was only rated PG, not 13, PG. And that's a big difference.
Oh, right? Yeah. Okay. Never mind then. Okay. I thought there was a PG-13 rating. My bad.
I don't believe so. The first one was R, and I think the second one was PG. Let me look. I'll look it up.
But I wouldn't be surprised, though, if that was PG, because of the fact that I think a lot of kids were starting to get more into Conan after that. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't be surprised about that. Although there are Conan comic books, though, too.
Yeah. Let me look it up. I mean, this is like he did these right, but I think it was like a difference of 5 years before he, like, when he did Pumping Iron to Conan.
Yeah, I remember whenever I was in Toys R Us and they would see a bunch of Conan action figures, things like that. And I could definitely see why they would actually probably make that from a rated R to a PG to actually probably sell more toys and stuff like that whenever it comes down to Conan. But Conan the Barbarian is great. I can't give that movie enough praise and everything as it is for an Arnold movie, for an old Arnie movie, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it was officially PG, which is well, yeah. I mean, again, I think these two were the first big ones he had in his career. Arnold did that was theatrically that he was in. It was Conan and then Conan the Destroyer, because not many people knew him till we get to the next movie right after that came out, like the same year as Conan the Destroyer. Do you want me to say this one or go? You mentioned it.
No. Go on ahead.
Terminator.
Yes. The Terminator movie was my favorite, to be honest with you, man, because of the fact that it reminded me of a horror film. If you think about it, the first one sets up as like a horror film and with sci-fi elements into it. And there's just something horrifying about a Terminator coming down from the future to kill you because of the fact that it'll put the end to the machines, and the machine wants to go on ahead and kill you. That is just something threatening and something that is terribly horrifying. But what did you think of the very first Terminator film, though?
I mean, I loved it. I mean, I love the theme song for the Terminator. Mm-hmm. Quality, let's just say, quality hasn't been great. I mean, like, first two were great. The third Terminator movie, I saw that in theaters. I enjoyed it for what it was. Salvation, I enjoyed it for what it was. I saw that in the theaters. I think I've seen all of them except for the first two. I've seen all the other Terminators in the theaters. Like, Genesis was, I'm just going to say it was shit. It was garbage, absolute piece of crap of a movie. Jai Courtney was terrible as Kyle Reese. And then all right, I'm playing spoiler here. They made John Connor bad in Genesis. They turned him evil. What the hell? Like that Schwarzenegger again was the only highlight of that movie, and Sarah Connor was terrible. Daenerys, sorry. Leave the acting for your counterpart, because Lena Headey played a better Sarah Connor in the Sarah Connor Chronicles. That was a fantastic TV show, and I think Fox did it dirty by canceling it and by leaving it on a fucking cliffhanger. Seriously, I'm pissed on that. I signed a petition to bring that show back because that show was awesome. Genesis sucked. Dark Fate, however, much improved over Genesis. Much improved because you brought the original OG back, and she was a badass in it.
Yeah, I always like Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor. I also like the TV series as well. I also agree with you with that, with Genesis being the sucky one out of the franchise and stuff like that. With this last one that they had, for me, it wasn't as great as I wanted it to be honest with you. I came out of it disappointed because, number one, there's no background into why Arnold all of a sudden decides that he's going to stop killing or anything like that. Now, if you watch the Terminator 2 extended edition, there's a part where he actually has to go up through his brain pretty much to get out that tracking device, and also to be able to upgrade himself to where he doesn't kill, and that's the only way to do that. So unless they show, here's the thing, if people actually watched the extended cut and knew it might lead into this last movie, it would have actually made sense. But considering the fact that there was nothing there for anything to say, oh, he's not going to kill, that didn't make sense to some people, to me. And then John Connor getting killed on the beach, I was disappointed in that because of the fact everything that he tried to do to protect him in the second movie and everything winds up getting washed away on the beach and everything when the Terminator kills him.
Yeah.
So those were the things that I had a problem with.
I knew that was gonna happen, like, because I was reading. I've been following a lot, like reading up on him. Like, okay, Edward Furlong's in it only for a couple minutes. I'm like, okay, I knew exactly. It was still an intense way to open the movie. I thought it was intense. I thought that was that. I mean, I love that they brought it back to the R rating. I love that. Linda Hamilton was fantastic in it. Like, I'll be back. Like just the nonchalant badass that she was. I mean, she was fantastic in it. And then he's like, all right. It's like saying, no, I'm not gonna, like, he's like, I think his name was Carl or something. Because she goes, I'm not fucking calling you that. Or just the nonchalant ways. Just like how, like I said, I thought she was a badass, and I kind of like the female Terminator, like the one that they had to protect the girl. I thought that was kind of a nice little gender reversal for it, which I thought was pretty cool. Do I think they're gonna make another Terminator? No, I hope not, because I think it's overstayed its welcome. I mean,
I feel like it too, to be honest.
Unless James Cameron is fully involved, not just as a producer, he's directing it and they're doing a different way with it. Sure, but I thought Terminator 2 is the best one out of the franchise. I mean, Terminator 2 is fantastic. Terminator 1 is great. Because like when because years and years ago, my sister was watching. I never watched, like, I've seen bits and pieces. I didn't watch the full Terminator movie in its entirety. And then my dad's like telling me, like, wait a minute, you never saw the police station shootout? And I was like, no. And he was like, OMG. And when I saw that, I was like, what?
That is brutal.
That was brutal, but it's Arnold being Arnold, and this is his first big movie. And I loved when James Cameron did for the sequel. He's like, you know what, we're making Arnold good. And everybody's like, why? Because I think that's what it. And I liked how they did that. They made Arnold kind of good because he's better as a good guy than he is. I mean, he can play bad guy, but in the original Terminator, but.
Right. In the original, I'm going to be honest with you. He scared the hell out of me in the very first Terminator movie. I'm going to be honest with you.
Digging out his eye, like the stuff in his eye. Yeah, I mean, for the 80s, that was intense. But the real selling point is, like, they got rid of in the later few movies. They got rid of the awesome theme song of the Terminator. Like you know, when you're watching a Terminator movie, when you hear that iconic, like, dun 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 dun, like, that is iconic. I mean, because if you don't have that, it kind of defeats the purpose of a Terminator movie. If you don't have that great theme, because it's a fantastic theme. I mean, I tried to get that as my ringtone.
Me too. I tried doing the same thing too, man. I tried to get that as my ringtone.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna watch Terminator movies, watch the first 3, and if you want to watch Salvation, it's for what it was. It's entertaining. It's an interesting twist on it. Like I said, I enjoyed it for what it was. I mean, we got a great Kyle Reese and Anton Yelchin. And just like he was great in it, and I was really hoping to see more of him. He died way too young, but he was great as Kyle Reese in this, and I thought there's elements of it that were pretty entertaining. I mean, you got Common in there as a badass because when he's in movies, he's typecast as the badass, or some sort of he's on the either the good guys that's like a resistance fighter, or he's an assassin. It's either one of those two, resistance fighter or assassin. Because that seems to be a lot what Common's been playing lately, and that's fine because he can play pretty good assassin. He's played John Wick too, great assassin. Thought he was pretty cool and wanted. And I thought he was really good in Run All Night with Liam Neeson as the assassin tracking them down. So I mean, he can play some good action roles when he gets them. So it's which I kind of like because he can play. He's typecast, but I don't care. If he's doing the job well. Keep doing it. But then, like I said, there's really 4 Terminator movies, and if you want to watch Dark Fate for what it is, there's some really good action sequences, and it's really intense. It's violent. But yeah, I think we covered the Terminator movie, so we don't need to. Yeah.
Well, there's one little small thing I want to mention though too about what I like about Linda Hamilton.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
And the character arc of Linda Hamilton, real quick. Is this you have a woman in the first one who's really frail, who's innocent, who the Terminator's trying to take down so that way John Connor isn't born because he was the one who's going to be ending the machines, ending the Terminators. And then in the second one, you have her telling people, look, there's going to be a Terminator. There's going to be people that's going to kill me. There's going to be people that's going to get after me. She's just a total badass. In the second one, she's no longer that frail person anymore. She's like Jamie Lee Curtis, amped up to 10. Because now she's no longer afraid of the boogeyman. She's no longer afraid of this Terminator or anything. She's scared maybe, but she's not one of those people that's going to run away. She's going to fight. And we saw that in the second Terminator movie when, especially the whole entire office scene on Terminator 2 Judgment Day. And then also too, T-1000 was terrifying in that movie. And things like that. And to me, the special effects still hold up today if you look at the Terminator 2 movie, in my opinion, and everything. Because I watched it long ago, and that movie still holds up for Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Yeah. But then you get into Terminator Dark Fate and everything, and she's all the way dialed in to that role now, to where she's like, here's the thing. I may not have been disappointed with the film, but I wasn't disappointed with Linda Hamilton's performance and everything. I thought she was really great still as John Connor's mother. She does a fantastic job in that film. But yeah, the first 2 films are always going to be the ones I'm going to go to. I'm not going to go sit through all the other films anymore or anything like that. To me, they go from a roller coaster ride and then they drop all the way down for me. Yeah. That's just my perspective of it. I do appreciate the concept of some of the other films. It's just that it didn't hit the mark of the other 2 films for me. No.
But no, I think technically it's like throughout Terminator 1, she kind of turned into that. And it's funny because if we're talking about horror movies, usually if you have sex in a horror movie, you're gonna die. When Hamilton had sex and she didn't die, Kyle Reese did, but she did. I'm sorry we spoiled that for you, but come on, Terminator 1's been out for like years now. Like, 30, so it's like,
about 20, 30 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Close enough. So, but yeah. And then she had the iconic line, "You're Terminator fucker." Like when she pressed the conveyor belt on him, it was a bummer to see because Michael Biehn was fantastic as Kyle Reese. He's great. And then he's he appears on the extended version in a dream or whatever. But yeah, she kind of turned into the badass from the set of that. And then that photo she got at the very end of the first one is the iconic photo throughout the rest of the movies. But the first one you see her is in Terminator 1, she's doing a one-arm pull-up, and he goes, "Hi, doctor, how's the knee?" She stabbed me in the leg or whatever the other day. And then like this the icon like, yeah, it's like you broke my arm. Yeah, there was a bunch of other human bones in the human body. Like pretty much like I mean, she went from that to badass in Terminator 2, and like just how she's nonchalant, like she just cycles the weapon, like she knows what's going on. But yeah, I mean and it's because of the Terminator. Bill Paxton was like the late Bill Paxton. You can't say anybody else has been that. He's been killed by the Terminator, an Alien, and I think Terminator, Alien, and a Predator.
Yep.
He's been killed by all three of those things. Not many actors can say that. So, but I mean, and he was one of the punk guys in the very first Terminator movie. Anybody to know? He had like purplish hair or whatever, and he got stabbed by the Terminator.
I actually forgot that was him. A good call on that one.
Yeah,
I actually forgot that was him.
He might have gotten killed by another thing. I don't remember, but I know it was a Terminator, an Alien, and a Predator. Because he got killed by all three of those, and that's like not many people can say that. But no, Hamilton was like she is the OG of like she's one of the in the female Hall of Fame for female badasses, right up there with Ripley, and probably various others I can't remember, but. But yeah, so the first two Terminators are the best, and there's aspects of the third one I enjoyed, like the chase sequence in the beginning, with Arnold holding on to the like kind of like the ball and chain thing on the I think it was like a fire engine. He's getting swung into the buildings. Like for what it was, that was pretty cool because that was my first R-rated movie I saw in theater. Well, second R-rated movie I saw in theaters. First one I saw was The Matrix Reloaded. That same year. Okay. They both came out in 2003. I saw them both in theaters.
So let's see here. I want to talk about another film of Arnold's that I really enjoy and everything. And it's not The Running Man. It's not anything like that. But Total Recall is is one of my favorite movies of Arnold's. It's original. It was ahead of its time. It was before the technology that we even have and everything. And my mind just boggles at the fact that, you have a futuristic movie where basically you can choose. It's like a video game. You get to choose where you want to go. You get to choose the mission that you want to go on. And you go. And, to me, this is a movie that has originality behind it. This is a movie that has action in it, drama. He doesn't, and here's the thing I like about his character, about Total Recall, about Arnold's character, Quaid, is this. He doesn't know what's the difference between the reality or if he's in the system itself. And you have, I think, Michelle Pfeiffer, or Sharon Stone's in this one as his wife.
Yeah.
And I remember when he comes home, he comes in there, he goes, I went to Total Recall. He goes, what do you mean? We had a talk. We weren't gonna do Total Recall. And so next thing you know, you find out that she's actually working for the villain. He knocks her out and everything, and then he goes out on the run and everything, trying to escape these people. But then there's also a tracking device in his system. The way he pulls out that tracking device and everything, it makes, and especially that crunch sound.
Yeah,
Ghetto Astomos was my favorite thing. But yeah.
I mean, this is when Paul Verhoeven was on a streak. He was on a streak with these movies. He's had RoboCop, fantastic movie. I think we'll have to do a review for that. That's a great movie. Then you had Total Recall. Then Starship Troopers. And the big common theme that all three of them have, besides the R rating, blood quips. The blood quips in this movie. Paul Verhoeven has a thing for violence, and the blood quips in this movie, OMG.
It beats out Tarantino, to be honest with you.
I mean, for early 90s, before Tarantino came out with it, before he started doing some violence, like the blood quips in this one, it's like, I mean, you see guys' arms getting ripped full off. Like, I mean, it's just, this is classic Arnold. Like, it's like, haha, you think this is Quaid? It is. Like, the technology, like the stuff. I mean, it's like, and it's kind of thought provoking too, because you're like, is this real? or is this not real? Because I think I was like, there was a rumor that I read, thing that said there was an alternate ending to this movie where Quaid wakes up in Recall and everything was a dream.
Yeah,
And,
that is an actual extended cut of the film and everything. That is actually true.
Oh, okay, but I'm glad they didn't go that route because I don't want to. Because I mean, they tried doing that with the remake or the reboot or whatever they when they did in 2012, which for what it's worth, it's a pretty entertaining movie. Like I mean, for that is, I mean, we mentioned it in our year in film for 2012. I mentioned it because I enjoyed it for what it was. Colin Farrell was great in it. I loved they had Kate Beckinsale play the
love interest.
The not the love interest. Kate Beckinsale played the villain role that the Michael Ironside character played in this one. I think she played Lori, and Lori in this one is a minor role that ends up getting shot in the head. Like I mean, pretty early on, and like the whole considered a divorce, like that line. But Lori is the villain in the 2012 version, which is a really nice twist on it. And I think they had Jessica Biel play the love interest, but Kate Beckinsale is a badass when they give her roles, and her as the villain, the main leader of trying to take down leader of the. Hold on, I gotta look up these character names. Sorry, I don't want to butcher anything. But yeah, so I mean, Total Recall is a fantastic movie. If you have not seen this movie, it's absolutely worth it. It just had its 30th anniversary. Oh yeah, it was Richter. I think so. They changed it so Richter is really Lori in the 2012 version. I think they had Richter as a minor role. But Kate Beckinsale was the main antagonist in it, so it was her taking on Colin Farrell, she was great in it. Let me see what we got. Yeah, there's no Richter in the 2012 version. They just have Matthias, but there's no you have Harry is still in this one. Cohagen is still that. So there's some characters, but it's kind of a little bit. It is the same, but it's kind of different. But in terms of the two, the Arnold one's the superior one because I mean, the 2012 version doesn't have a creepy guy on the guy's back, like Quaid, get to the reactor. Like you don't have any of that. You don't have any of the blood quips. It's just the 90s version is the better one, and it's also got those one-liners like "I'll see you at the party, Richter," or that one, or screw you after stabbing the guy with the drill. When he's drilling him, he says screw you. I mean, it's classic Arnold. But I'll see you at the party or get your ass to Moss. Like this, there's iconic lines. It's so quotable, but it's so good. I'm like, or the disguise.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that. Yeah,
go ahead. You cover that one.
Here's the thing. I don't remember the line, so you're gonna help me out with the line on that one.
Mm-hmm.
But the cosmetic makeup for that, and then him just taking off the disguise for the face, and it looks like a mannequin's head. And then all of a sudden, he throws it at them. And it's a bomb. The mannequin's head is actually a bomb, and everything, which I find really funny. And then also too, I actually like how they go into the hotel and everything, and they need a certain card to actually get into the hotel and everything too. I liked how they made the rules of Total Recall and explained the rules to us and explaining it into a sci-fi kind of way without trying to get too complicated. It's a simplistic story, which is something I appreciate because it could have been a lot more complicated than what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Then also too, we also have the robotic Uber driver, taxi driver,
mm-hmm.
in it too, where basically he's an animatronic driving everybody. But yeah, and then you also have the bad guy tracking him all over the place and everything too. Here's the thing. I don't remember the 2012 movie that well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I was getting Kate Beckinsale mixed up.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I tried getting into the 2012 version. And I like Colin Farrell as an actor. I have nothing against him at all. It's just that when I was watching him play that role that Arnold played, I couldn't help but picture Arnold doing it. and seeing someone that doesn't have Arnold's build doing the things that Arnold was doing, it just made me not be that into it like I wanted to be into it. But I do appreciate people that love that remake and everything too. But just for me, that didn't work. But with this also too, I remember the actress that played the alien with the three nipples, the three breasts, and I remember when she was trying to give advice to people or whoever it was. I forgot what it was. It was like a very old article back whenever they were going to do the remake, and she actually said this. She advises people not to be casted for someone with that kind of role because of the fact that it was disgraceful to women and for men to depict of them and everything to them. So she was trying to hopefully not to have that character in the remake.
Yeah.
And everything.
They kind of in the remake had that moment in there because it's like they briefly, there's some good action sequences and like, cause I mean, I saw the 2012 version in theaters. I gave it a shot because it looked entertaining and I was pleasantly entertained with it. Am I saying it's better than Arnold one? Absolutely not. Like the Arnold one is the superior one. But for what it's worth, the 2012 version had entertaining moments. This was an entertaining action movie. I wasn't bored at all with it. Is it PG-13? Yeah. Was it limit on there was no blood clips? No, there was no blood clips. There was none of that. There was not the iconic one-liners, but it didn't need that. And it tried to stand on its own. It's entertaining. Like, I mean, I'm not denying that, but I think if we have to review it, we're reviewing the Arnold one because Sean, if you're listening to this, we're gonna have to do that review soon for the Total Recall because I don't know if it's still on Netflix or not, but that one is great because I think it just had a 30th anniversary last December whenever it came out because I got the 30th anniversary 4K for it because of course I didn't own it. So I'm like, of course I have to own it because it's a classic Arnold movie. It's got one-liners, Paul Verhoeven's blood clips before he went crazy, like all that good stuff. So the Total Recall is a fantastic movie.
Definitely, and also too, I remember owning the NES video game for Total Recall and everything too as a kid. So I definitely had the regular Nintendo Total Recall video game, which was a lot of fun back in the day.
Yeah.
But anyways, go ahead. Mention the next one that you got.
All right, the next one I'll talk about. I'll mention this briefly because this was kind of like a Conan. He was in that movie Red Sonja. I believe it's similar to Conan the Barbarian. He just plays another one that I think it's more
of a shared universe kind of deal.
Yeah, it's similar to that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. I think Red Sonja is actually connected in with Conan and everything. To be honest with you. Because I remember seeing Red Sonja comics, and Conan would actually make appearances within the comic books of Red Sonja, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so it's definitely a shared universe between them.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that because I think the star was Bridget Nielsen, who I believe at the time was actually married to Stallone. Because she was married to Stallone. I think it was right around when they did Cobra, because she's in Cobra with Stallone. So it's kind of in the 80s. So she got her taste of both Arnold and Stallone, but again, different movies. Yeah, different movies. One was more of an R-rated fantasy in the realm of Conan. The other one was a serial killer like action movie. That's Cobra. So it's a darker Stallone movie, which is fantastic, by the way. So anyway, like I wanted to mention Red Sonja just because it's that, but the next two are like definitely 80s, like Arnold like at his finest. First one is Commando. Commando is this that was like that I remember watching, like that's got so quotable. It's great action. Like it's like Arnold taking on at least 80, 90 guys, and it's his version of Rambo. That's essentially what Commando was, but it's just the iconic lines. Like, remember Sully? Like, he's like, "You're a funny guy, Sully, so I'm going to kill you last." And he's like, "Remember Sully when I promised to kill you last?" It's like, "Hey Sully, remember this is my bad arm. Remember Sully when I promised to kill you last?" "Yeah, you did. I lied." "What's to do with Sully?" "I let him go." Like it's like, "Come on, Bennett, let's party." Like this, it's a classic.
Get to the chopper.
That's the next movie I'm going to discuss. That's Predator.
I know. I just got excited for a minute.
It's fine. And it's funny because his co-star in Predator, Bill Duke, was one of the bad guys that was in Commando. He played one of the. I think he played Dutch. I think. Let me see what character is. It's been a while since I've seen Commando because Commando is a fantastic action movie. Let's see. Oh, he plays Cook, and it's funny. Oh yeah, because it would have been funny if he played Dutch because that's Arnold's role in Predator, which we'll get to in a minute. But if they need to release Commando on in 4K because I'd buy it because it's classic Arnold, and it's Arnold taking on a ton of guys, and he takes them out he takes them out like they're butter. As the
one shot, pretty much.
And then, he's like, you go, and then kind of like what the one pissant guard says. You know what? I'm cutting once I get my hands on his daughter, I'm gonna cut her like warm. It's gonna be gonna happen like warm butter. That's essentially what Arnold did to the entire squad. He has a great the him stealing the gun sequence at the department store. It was awesome. Him getting all of these types of guns, and then yet you see some of the guns that he didn't bring with him. You see him using them in the later sequence. I don't remember him taking that Desert Eagle, yet he had it with him, and he got arrested. And yet he had it with him. I was because he there's so many guns he didn't get to use. He had this giant cannon gun that they say don't move, asshole, or whatever. And it's oh man, I kind of wanted to see him use some of these weapons, but it's funny because there's two versions of the movie. There's director's cut, which makes it a little bit more violent. It makes that sequence where he's in the little the tool shed sequence a little more violent. It seems you see when he takes the part off and he cuts the guy's trim of the guy's head off. You see him cut a guy's arm off. You full on see it in the extended cut. I was oh, okay. You see him cut an arm off, take a machete, whoosh, cut the arm off. And this is for 80s. This is pretty violent. But no, it's classic Arnold. It's Commando. And that's a great Arnold movie. If again, all these movies are great. But if you haven't seen Commando, that's 80s in a nutshell. You see him swing in the mall with when he takes the giant balloon, he swings on it like Tarzan, as the girl called it. It's great.
Let's see here. I want to talk about. I'm not going to talk about
Commando, John. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut in there.
Here's the thing with Commando. I know of the scene.
Okay.
And everything, the iconic scene that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
With the rockets and stuff like that,
Yeah.
But I haven't either that or I have a mental block on it. You know what I mean? Maybe I saw it briefly in my childhood, but I don't remember it now.
We should review that then.
So I need to do a refresher on Commando, to be honest with you. But let's see here.
We gotta fill 10 movies, so of course I think we're gonna have to review it.
Okay, sounds good to me.
All right, I got two written. Yeah, I already got two written down, so we're good. All right, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, you're good, man. You're good. Seriously. So I want to talk about when he starts doing family movies a little bit, because then he starts trying to transition into Stallone, basically, back in the 90s. But also, I'm going to mention two movies real quick. I'm going to mention Twins, and then from Twins, I'm going to talk about Kindergarten Cop. That's okay.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so Twins is probably one of my favorite movies. It's got Danny DeVito in it. It's got Arnold Schwarzenegger in it. And basically, Arnold finds out that he has a brother. And so he goes over to Los Angeles to try and find his brother. And this is what makes me laugh, because there's actually a picture of Stallone and Rambo 2 when he passes up the video store. And he looks at the poster and he looks at Stallone's arms. He's then he looks at his. He goes, and walks off. And I like that little nod to Stallone and everything, and that little beef-free thing that they had for who was the best action star during that time period.
Mm-hmm.
But I just like this story because of the fact that it's about two brothers that didn't even know that they were brothers to begin with, and then come to find out they were also basically part of a genetic program and everything too, where basically all the good material, all the stuff flowed into Arnold, and then Danny DeVito is small, so he got all the crappy end of the deal and everything. And then I also like how Arnold is playing it off like he's like, I do not like violence, and Danny DeVito goes, well, you're so good at it, because but I do not like it. And then there's also the Yakety Yak song on the airplane, and he's like, take out the paper and the trash. You don't get no spending cash. And then, of course, when the girl comes into his hotel room and everything, that's whenever he goes, Yakety Yak, don't talk back. But yeah, horrible Arnold impressions. I'm not very good at it.
No, it's okay. It sounds like a cringeworthy movie. I haven't seen Twins.
You haven't? Oh my God, it is so good.
I think for me, I just can't see Arnold in a comedy. That's the hard part. There is one that came out later on, like recently, that I'll mention. That's kind of a comedy, but it's a hysterical movie. But go ahead, continue on with your next one, or Twins or whatever.
Okay, but then on the other one for the 1990s movie, Kindergarten Cop, I love that movie.
It's so good.
Yes, that is so nostalgic for me, especially when the little girl goes up to him. He's an undercover cop who's trying to protect this other family, and so happens to be his other undercover cop gets sick, so now he has to be the role of the teacher instead of her. And I like how the little girl goes, Mr. Kimball, I need to go to the bathroom. There's no bathroom.
Put the cookie down.
Yeah, that was in Jingle All the Way. Put the cookie down.
Oh yeah, or the scene when the kids stealing the kids' lunch. Are these your lunches? You're eating other people's lunches? Well, stop it. And it's just. I mean, I don't consider that one as a kid movie or a family movie because it's got very that, but it's hysterical. Like the opening, like you say, well, it's like, hi Cindy, I'm gonna be around you a lot more now. He's trying to track down this ad, but his partner is the one that gets sick, and because she's eating like all these types of combination of food, and she eats from the police station and she gets sick, and it's like that's why you should never eat the police station food, but she gets sick. And he's like, how was your day? Oh, they're terrible. And the kids are like, and then it's funny that you mentioned Kindergarten Cop, because a little while ago, I think it might have been last year, the kids had a Zoom call, and it was the kids as adults. And then so the moderator is like, oh, hold on, we got a guest. Arnold shows up and surprises the kids who are now adults. Like when you see the kids, like when you see the adults, you can know which kid they played because they look so alike. But when Arnold shows like, hi kids, everybody was freaking out because nobody expected Arnold, which I thought was so cool. But the kids were hysterical. Like, I mean, and then the partner was great too when she was not sick. Or it's like, oh, Harry, it's like it's nice to recognize you out with all your clothes on. Like when he sees the fiance of the partner, like when he sees her, he sees him for the first time. He's naked, and he's like, oh, it's nice to see you with all your clothes on. Like, I mean, it's just like yeah. I have a headache. Is it a tumor? It's not a tumor.
Who's your daddy and what does he do?
Yes. Or the iconic line, I'm like, you're not so tough about your car. When she just whacks the old lady with the baseball bat. You're not so tough about your car. Like, I mean, it's just it's like, and how did it feel to beat up that guy? It felt great. And like how the headmaster of the school kind of like it works. And she was like, how did it feel? Felt great. And she's like, good. Like she kind of she was kind of like on his side from now on because the guy he was a douchebag. He was a ball bag. He was, and Arnold deserved to beat the shit out of him. And
you know what I like about this movie? You know what I like about this movie too, though?
Yeah,
it covers child abuse. It covers a drunkard dad that abuses his wife, and not only abuses his wife, but abuses his kid. And then the kid has to act like, oh, I accidentally fell down the basement stairs. But you could, as a cop, you can tell that Arnold is actually trying to piece this thing together. Because if you look in his eyes, he's like, okay, this guy is totally trying to BS me.
Yeah.
And everything. And yeah, I like that whole entire scene with the principal. He goes, so how did it feel to punch the guy? It felt great. But
but yeah, I mean, Kindergarten Cop, Great movie. I haven't seen the sequel because apparently they need to make sequels ever, and he had Dolph Lundgren in it. Come on now, like, leave this movie alone. Like, it's fine the way it was. There's no freaking point for a sequel. It's like,
No.
It's great as is.
But I'm gonna let you get to your other Arnold movie that you want to talk about.
Okay. John kind of mentioned it earlier on. It's classic 80s. It's Predator. I watched this not too long ago on 4K, and my oh man, the quality still lives up. I mean, this movie is it's 80s Arnold. It's an actioner mixed in with sci-fi, mixed in with a horror stuff. Because it's just, I mean, it's the setup. It's like the team and the team squad, which, or ironically, I forgot. Let me see. I think because I know one of the guys that's a member of his team is a famous director that's worked with Arnold quite a few times. Let me look that up. But yeah, it's this Predator is so iconic. It's like it introduces the Predator, and they made some not so great sequels. It has so many great one-liners.
The director that you're looking for, man, is Shane Black.
Shane Black, yeah, that's right, yeah, because I think he directed like the latest Predator movie, which actually wasn't that bad. It was actually really entertaining. It was pretty funny.
Actually,
anyway,
I actually see John McTiernan was the director for it, but I think Shane Black did the remake for it, right?
Yeah. That's what I meant. He directed the remake one with Boyd Holbrook and his team, like then Olivia Munn, that one that came out in 2018, which actually is pretty entertaining for what it is. It's entertaining. The ragtag bunch is pretty funny. Thomas Jane and Keegan-Michael Key were great in it. So anyway, back to this one. This movie's great. I mean, of course, it has the iconic quote and the iconic scene that turned people into like, dude, this is the epitome of macho-ness. The Dylan, you son of a bitch line with Carl Weathers. When the two of them go up and they handshake each other, and you see the both muscle definitions of both, like, Dylan, you son of a bitch. Like, just seeing the comment section on there, like, oh my god, this turned me into a man. Like, this the macho manness, and it's like, and everybody's making funny jokes. They're like, man, if somebody saw this, they'd be weak crying, like, what do you mean this can't happen? And it's just the epitome of the two muscles of two of them is like, Dylan. It's like, so what? You you lost your definition because you're fucking pencil pushing or whatever. And it's just, it sets out like a normal mission. They have to go in and it has the great action sequence where they're taking out the army group, and Arnold's having the line of stick around, like that line, or like knock knock. Like it starts off as an action movie. And then it turns into a horror movie in a quick second, and that's how great this one was. And it's just, you are one ugly motherfucker. Like the scene with the Predator. I mean, this movie's pretty violent, especially when Carl Weathers' arm gets chopped off, and he's trying to pick it up and shoot. Because Carl Weathers, he's not a great character in this one. He's a dick. He's a bureaucratic bullshit dick in this one, and he deserved to go out that way. But this movie this can get violent, and it does for an 80s. For 80s, this is a pretty violent movie because there's a lot of intense violence, and it's like when the Predator is killing, he's scalping its victims. Like it's brutal, but it's classic 80s Arnold, and it's got the one-liners like the one-liners. If it bleeds, we can kill it. Like it's just like, and then it's like you just all of them like have like great muscle definition. So this is like a manly movie, but it's famous for its iconic "Dylan, you son of a bitch" line. I mean, I quote it all the time because it's funny, but it's just I had to talk about it because it's like get to the chopper. I mean, it's a great Arnold movie. So we'll have to figure out some other ones to review, but it holds up.
I wouldn't mind rewatching this one since it's been so long since I've seen this one.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, and do like a revisit for me because, like I said, there's moments in this movie that I remember, and then there's moments that I don't remember. I remember the Dylan, your son of a bitch line. Mm-hmm. I remember that whole entire sequence. I remember the villain being a douchebag and stuff like that. But I don't remember everything about that film because it's been so long. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't mind going back and do a refresher on it, to be honest with you. That was one that I feel like I need to go back and look at.
Mm-hmm. me go down. I had some other ones too. Let me pull up the filmography again. If you have another one, go ahead and mention it until I get my stuff pulled up.
So, as Brandy mentioned earlier, I love the movie True Lies. True Lies is probably one of my favorite movies. I mentioned Jamie Lee Curtis earlier, so it's kind of like an Easter egg to what I was going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But you have two people that are totally, completely different. You have her husband, who is played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, and basically what winds up happening is this. He's a government spy, and then Jamie Lee Curtis is just like your average everyday housewife going to the 9-to-5 job and everything, working, and she wants a little bit of excitement in her life, and then she winds up trying to have an affair with this guy who's posing as a government spy, taking credit for the work that Arnold Schwarzenegger did. But I love the comical aspect to it.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. You have Tom Arnold. You have him as Arnold Schwarzenegger's partner. I felt like the chemistry between them two actually worked. Then, of course, you have the little girl. I forgot what her name was, but she was played in this one TV series called Dollhouse. She was also in The New Guy and everything as well. And I really have to say I love this movie. I'll watch this every single time it comes on TV. I also like the whole entire scene where, with the horse, where Arnold's riding the horse, and then you have the guy on the motorcycle,
mm-hmm.
and then there's an iconic 90s scene where it's in this elevator. It's a see-through elevator, and it kind of reminds you of RoboCop, because they have those kind of elevators where it's like it's see-through and it's going up several levels. Arnold goes into the elevator with the horse and everything, and it's just total ridiculousness, but it's also ridiculousness with a lot of humor, and also it was there for a reason.
I mean, it's another iconic James Cameron movie. I mean, and it's not a sequel. This is like an original idea, and then I think like this movie is yet to be released on Blu-ray. It's only been
this movie needs on Blu-ray, to be honest.
It needs to. It's a great Arnold movie. It's got great action sequences. Like when there's action, it's intense. Like the bathroom sequence, him wearing the sunglasses so you can see behind him what's going on. Like that's a great sequence. The whole him going ballistic on the him under the meds after that is like, well, first I'm thinking about like using that thing over there. I'm gonna kill that guard right there. And then I'm going to use him as a human shield, or I'm going to use you as a human shield. And I'm thinking about breaking your neck. My handcuffs. I picked them, and he goes, oh, and like the doctor's face just tells it, like, oh, like, and of course you have Cassandra from Wayne's World, Tia playing the villain. She was the girl's like, there was never us, you psychopathic bitch. Like, I mean, just playing that line. And Jamie Lee Curtis gets in the action. She's beating the shit out of her. It's like when I with the champagne bottles, this is like a serious action movie. But there's a lot of comedy mixed in with like the goons in the on the truck while Arnold's on the Marines, like, all right, Marines, time to kick ass. After they shoot the truck, you see the three guys like, oh, I'm gonna shoot the rocket launcher. Whoops, I shot my own guy out the side. And then the giant goose landing on top of the truck this had the nuke in it, or as close, or some truck or whatever had the nuke, and the car falls and it blows up, and the guy's like, no, like it's Arnold's face is like, we're not gonna blow up the nuke, and he goes, no, and then you see him look over Tom Arnold, and he's like, but Arnold just goes off like on all these, and then Jamie Curtis calls him, oh my god, I married Rambo. Like it's just like the sequence. He just drops the gun and he just pulls out another gun and just shoots. He's like, honey, next time duck. Like it's just he's in his element here, and then like for the opening sequence where he's like a spy, and he's having a sequence where he's skiing down, and like, hey guys,
it feels like James Bond.
It does. Hey guys, can you move over to the right a little bit? And he just shoots, all right, let's go. I'm late. I'm late for dinner or whatever. It's just like this is it's like, and then of course the tango. Oh, come on, guys, not the tango. You got to be professionals out there. I mean, if I was out there, I'd be professional too. You know what? I'm tired of this in the van stuff. Next time, you guys are in the van. And of course, when I mentioned Bill Paxton was hilarious. He's like, you're going to shoot me, right? You're going to shoot me? And he shoots him, and he's like, and he's peeing himself. It's just...
Bill Paxton always got the worst of it whenever it came up to team ups with Arnold. The poor guy. But especially the interrogation scene and everything too. Because when have you guys slept together? No, I don't even love her. You're a used car salesman. And everything. But my other thing though too is this, and then finally he decides to get revenge on Jamie Lee Curtis for trying to have an affair with this guy. So he winds up recording somebody else's voice and everything, and makes her strip tease for him.
Yeah.
No, not like that. Dance sexy. Okay.
Yeah.
Stop. But then,
it sounds like he's like a Latino or whatever.
Right.
Like,
this movie is just great though, man. And then also too, the violence that you were talking about. Remember how it actually ends where the terrorist is actually on the bottom of the rocket, hanging on the rocket of the of the airplane, of the jet. Yeah. He goes on and shoots him into a building. Yeah,
goes right through the building and into the other house. He's like, "You're fired." Like, I mean, it's this.
You're fired.
Yeah. And again, you mentioned it earlier, a young, very young Elijah Dushku. Yeah. I mean, it's just, this movie is just so good. I mean, they've been trying to make a sequel for this for years. I don't know.
Even a TV series too.
They've been trying that. I don't know if that got canceled or not. I don't know. Like, if you're just gonna do, I don't wait too long, because I think we're already past the waiting too long portion. But
yeah, at this point, Elijah Dushku kids could actually be his grandkids, and now they're spies at this point.
Yeah, you know? I mean, it's a great one.
So, what do you have next for yours?
I don't know if you've seen this one, but this is came out in '96. This is before he had a 2-movie streak of Jingle All the Way and Batman and Robin, which
I like Jingle All the Way.
I'm not like covering that. You cover the kid stuff because that's where your territory is. I'm covering the Arnold moments.
Hey, I like the Arnold moments too.
Yeah, I know.
By the way,
I'm just busting your balls.
Quit busting my balls. Go ahead.
All right, my next one's Eraser. This came out in '96. This is a great Arnold one. It's like he plays John Kruger. He's a U.S. Marshal. He's very good at erasing people's identities because he's like witness protection. This is like, it's not as cheesy as the other ones, but there's some great action sequences in this one. Like, there's some comedy to it, like with the guy that like he ends up needing to help out like that. I mean, it has the iconic line, "You've just been arrested." Like, I think it's one of his better underrated ones, but there's moments of Arnold going Arnold on this one, and it's great. I mean, he's at that. I mean, the sequence where he has these dual like rail guns, and these things are heavy. It looks really heavy. He's manhandling two of them at once, and it's like it's a great Arnold movie. It's got a lot of great action sequences in it. Like, oh yeah, the iconic zoo sequence where he shoots the alligator and goes, "Your luggage." Like, I mean, it's just it's a great Arnold one.
I think I remember saying that Eraser was actually one of my favorite movies in '96 when we covered it. But you know, I also like the whole entire scene in the airplane where he's practically jumping out of the airplane and everything, and having a very Arnold action moment in that. Then I also like the technology of the gun, where basically you can see the inside of the walls and then shoot the person. Yeah, that was really great, to be honest with you. Yeah,
I mean, I love this.
I like this movie a lot.
Yeah. I didn't remember that because I think when we first, it might have been a while, because I know when I was talking about it, you're like, "Huh, I don't remember that one."
That was Frenchie. I think I'm not mistaken. Okay. I don't know.
That's fine. No worries. If not, cool. Whatever. If we have to, we can revisit this one. We still got like 5 more ones to choose from. I mean, it's great. It's got a great action sequences in it. I mean, I remember having. I think this was my number 2 of 1996. I mean, this is a great Arnold movie. It's kind of underrated because there's a lot of great elements in it. All right, what's the next one you wanted to talk about? I know you want to talk about Jingle All the Way.
No, I'm not going to talk about Jingle All the Way yet.
Okay,
but
yeah, go ahead.
I like Last Action Hero though.
Okay, yeah.
I remember in Boston whenever it came out and everything, and I remember going with my grandfather and my mom to go see this movie. And I like the idea and the concept that you get to go and be zapped into the movie theater, into a movie with your favorite action hero and everything because of this Houdini ticket
Mm-hmm.
and the mythology behind it. It was really cool. Was a really cool concept. It didn't get that great of a praise during that time. As a matter of fact, people said it was maybe one of his worst movies.
Mm-hmm. Um, I mean, it's been a long time. I mean, I watched it not too long ago. I mean, it's entertaining. Like I said, I mean, I think I'm a little like I kind of like his. I think like the other Arnold movie. I like the Running Man better. Personally, I mean, I've seen this one. It's been a long time since I've seen it. I mean, for PG-13 rating, I think it's kind of limited. It's like it's making fun of his other movies. And
Right.
Arnold's probably great in it. And I believe it has the original Sonya Blade in it too, as his
Yeah.
daughter. Or the one that played the teacher that Billy Madison had the hots for. But yeah, it's been a while since I've seen this one. I mean, it's okay. I mean, there's elements in it, but I think it's just. I think they tried too many things in one movie, and I think that was that was the problem with it.
You see, I like the fact that they tried poking fun of his own movies and everything. I felt like it was a
Yeah.
spoof of his own stuff, but also too, they made fun of Hollywood in a
Mhm.
sense. Because think of it like this: Terminator, Judgment Day had Stallone instead of Arnold, and I remember when Arnold goes into the blockbuster, he goes, "Really, this guy?" And everything. I know it's not Mexican, but yeah,
Yeah.
but and then you know, then also too, I also like how they made fun of like ET with it because of the bike on the roof where the kid is actually going on a rooftop with the bicycle when he
Mhm.
thinks that he's flying and he's not, and then he's actually have to convince Arnold that he's actually an action character and everything, and this is not real
Mhm.
and everything. And I like this movie for what it is. I also like the soundtrack for it, the hard rock with it, with the
Mhm.
ACDC soundtrack and everything. I thought it worked very well. And then of course you have Aerosmith doing "Dream On." I thought it
Mhm.
was good for what it was and for that
Yeah.
time for a little '90s flavor. I still revisit it from time to time if
Mhm.
there's nothing on TV.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen this one, so maybe it would change. I don't remember the last time I watched it. I know of it. I remember watching it. I just don't remember aspects of it. I think they try to combine too many genres in it because the whole like serious element of him trying to catch the serial killer that's killed his kid or whatever, some sort of movie that it's in. It's just I think dabbled in a little bit of too many different genre mixing, and I think
Okay.
that's where it was kind of like all over the place, like comedy, action, like it can work, but I think I don't know, I think they just tried too much to do too much in one movie, to be
Okay.
honest.
All right.
Um,
So what do you have for your last one?
I'm gonna just run through a bunch of them that I liked. Running Man, I thought this was an entertaining '80s movie. It's got great one-liners, stuff like that. Um, End of Days is an interesting movie. Um, it's a kind of a horror movie with some action in it. Sixth Day is a great Arnold sci-fi movie dealing with cloning and stuff, which is a pretty cool one. Collateral Damage, that's a tough one because that movie has a lot of history with it, and I've only seen it once, and I don't think I need to see that again. Do you want to give a brief mention to the Rundown because he showed up briefly in the movie The Rundown with the Dwayne Johnson? He was the guy that came out of the bar and goes have fun, kind of a passing the torch a little bit from Arnold to the Dwayne Johnson, which I thought was a little nod. Um, The Last Stand is a good one with him in Knoxville. That's essentially he's the sheriff. This is his first movie they did after coming out from after being governor of California. It's a great act. It has some great action
Yep.
liners. Like it's a entertaining one. Sabotage is another decent one that I watched not too long ago with him in it. It's not your typical Arnold one. It's got a pretty big cast in it. It's definitely got a lot of criticisms, and I can agree because the trailers do not tell you are not indicative of what the actual movie is. It's more of a who done it kind of thing because somebody's killing a member of his team. But it's got a great ending with Arnold taking out guys in a bar, like classic. So that was like that one shut out. But I think the big one I wanted to give a shout out. It's a comedy that came out in 2017. And I'll time on this one. It's called Killing Gunther. So Killing Gunther is a mockumentary, and Gunther is like the baddest like assassin out there. And he's like Gunther, and he's hysterical. So Taron Killam's in it. He's got Bobby Moynihan's in this. He's got a lot of other people in it. So essentially, like Taron Killam is like, you know what? I'm a top assassin here. I'm gonna kill Gunther, and it's a funny mockumentary, documentary kind of thing. And he's trying to get Taron Killam's trying to get this team together. And you got Bobby Moynihan plays the dynamite guy. You got one guy that loves to that deals a lot with Venom. You got bomb expert. You got like anyway. So you try to put this team together to take out Arnold Schwarzenegger. This movie is hysterical because of how absurd this team is. It's like one of the sequences that where Arnold's like because can't go into much of it because it kind of reveals that. So Gunther's like, I'm Gunther, and he goes like, and he's making fun of like himself and it, and he's like, it's like, really, you're gonna try to kill me? And like he's like, really, I'm offended by this. He's like, oh, those dicks, and he goes, did that guy try to throw poison at me? He's like from a far distance, he snipes this one guy, and everybody thinks they're all going crazy, and goes, oh, that's my mentor, and then Taron goes, oh, this is my mentor, he's great. Then he faints. And he's in hospital, and then he gets out again. He's like, "Oh, is that my mentor? He's in some really bad shape." Like, and it's just like it's a hilarious mockumentary. I don't know where you can find it, but it's called Killing Gunther.
I haven't seen that one.
This is absolutely hysterical. I watched it like last year. I cried. I couldn't stop laughing because of how funny this is. It's like the guy's throwing poison, so he's got this small vase and he's chucking it, and that's how he kills people with poison. And then he's like, it's like, oh, there's dicks. They killed my brother. I'm like, oh, and he's like, hi, yeah, I want to call the cops. I want to report somebody. And he's just like, it's just. And he's like, he has the guy kind of like, I'm here, do it, coming out, do it. He's like,
do it. Yeah,
that's exactly like he's quoting it. And while he's slamming a refrigerator door on a guy's head. Come on, I'm right here, do it, kill me now. He's slamming a door on a guy's head.
Oh my god!
I mean,
I have to see this movie. I really do.
I mean, it's got funny action elements in it, but it's a mockumentary of them trying to kill this top assassin, and the top assassin is Schwarzenegger. It's me, it's Gunther. Hello, like I'm gonna play my banjo or just something along those lines. It came out like 4 years ago, but this movie's just, I think it was direct to video, but it's got Let me pull up the cast for this. Okay. This is like an all-star, not all-star, but it's like a lot of SNL alumni, like Bobby Moynihan, Taron Killam's wife. It was in this.
While you do that, I'm going to point this out real quick. Curtis from Listen podcast says, just here to say a quick hello and leave a like, and also I'll be back for your next live stream. All right.
Yeah, so mainly it's Taron Killam, Schwarzenegger, Bobby Moynihan, Kobe Smulders, Allison Tolman. So it's not many known people besides Schwarzenegger and Taron Killam, but it's like a mockumentary action comedy, and it is just funny to see. And his plan's like, you know what, I'm gonna kill Gunther because I'm the best. And it's just seeing their plan, and it's just how it unfolds. It makes you laugh, and it's just hysterical. Like I was watching, I cried. I was laughing so hard.
I can see it though. I can see it. I'm gonna kill Gunther because I'm the best, and I will kill him.
Pretty much. And
right.
He's like,
right.
Yeah,
I can just see it. I can see cool Arnold. This is also what Curtis says from Listen podcast. Also, Jingle All the Way is his favorite Arnold movie, or one of the Terminators. Don't ask which one. I haven't seen any, but I know they're good. Now, see you next time. Curtis is actually one of those people that you need to actually listen to his podcast to actually get his humor when he knows that. That's how I was able to laugh at that line, because of the fact of the humor that he actually brings to his podcast. So if you haven't listened, you need to listen to his podcast. Or if you don't listen, just go ahead and listen to our podcast, and he'll show up from time to time to make you listen to him. So either way it goes, someone will actually listen to his podcast. Anyways, that's a whole lot of listens into one listen podcast. So you mentioned End of Days. I like the End of Days movie, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
It has a horror fantasy type of feel to it. It's basically where the devil is actually basically going to other people's bodies trying to find a host. Arnold Schwarzenegger also is trying to get over, I think his wife or someone had cancer. Someone has died in his life, and he's trying to get over that death and everything and over that guilt and shame. And then you have this happening.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very good movie. The soundtrack is really good.
Yeah.
You have Everlast on this album. You have Eminem. You
Mm-hmm.
have different people of the late 90s on the
Mm-hmm.
soundtrack. So yeah, End of Days soundtrack is great. The movie End of Days is good. The person who played the devil was really good and threatening, to be honest
I think
with
it was
you.
Peter. Somebody. I think something Gabriel.
Peter Gabriel, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think it was that. And then another one I forgot to mention that stars Stallone and Schwarzenegger was Escape Plan. That was really that was entertaining. Sequel sucked. Yeah, it was Gabriel Byrne. Gabriel Byrne was the guy's name.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the guy that played the devil in End of Days.
Okay.
Yeah. But Escape Plan's a decent one of Arnold and Stallone teaming up, and the two of them like riffing on each other. And it has the iconic Arnold taking on a turret gun from the and then Jim Caviezel played a really good villain in that one as the warden or the owner of the prison or whatever that Stallone and Arnold are in. He was a pretty convincing villain, so that was pretty good. But yeah, killing Gunther, absolutely, we got to review that. That's a great one.
I want to see that now that you talked about it. We have to review that one.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I'm just going to mention Jingle All the Way. That's mine too, Curtis. That's actually one of my favorite films. Sinbad's in that movie. Phil Hartman's in this movie. It's about this kid who wants a Power Man. What's the name of that doll? Turbo Man.
Turbo Man.
Because my mom actually bought me a Turbo Man doll for Christmas. I didn't ask for one. It was just under my tree. Nestle safety under my tree. No Arnold involved. No one tried to burn down my house for one. But I love this movie because of the fact it's just a silly movie. You can turn your brain off for about an hour and just laugh at silly one-liners of Arnold, like "Put the cookie down. Who told you to touch my cookie?" And then Phil Hartman is actually the neighbor who is supposed to be the nicest neighbor that you ever seen, but he's really trying to hit on every single mom that's in that neighborhood and everything too. Then Sinbad is just there as a male person who's trying to get a Turbo Man doll. Then, of course, you have counterfeit Turbo Man dolls and stuff like that, too, that's in this movie. This movie is, to me, hysterical. Not only that, but there's even an end credit scene at the end of this movie. And the end credit scene is basically, after all this is done, after he gets on the float, after the kid winds up giving the Turbo Man doll to Sinbad for his son, after the credits go up, the wife goes, "Hey, hon, that was really nice what you did for our son, but what about my present?" And he's like, and he just freezes, and then the screen cuts to black. But this movie is one of my favorite films. Then again, I like some Christmas films if they're done right and everything. So yeah, Jingle All the Way is definitely one of my favorite Arnold films. As a matter of fact, I actually reviewed that with Tamika and everything last year and everything. So go ahead, check that out on our podcast and also on our video one as well. So is there anything else that you wanted to mention as far as Arnold goes?
No, I think I mentioned all the ones I want to talk about. There's other ones that you did. I don't really need to talk about, but but I think I mentioned all the ones I wanted to. I mean, he's done a lot of good ones.
Same here as well. I'm not going to mention Junior with Danny DeVito and him teaming up, and he was pregnant. I'm not going to mention that that movie because it was okay. It had its moments of being funny, but it wasn't that great. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for our show for tonight. But come tomorrow night because I have the Schmodown, a Schmodown competitor coming in. I have Paige, the Boston Badass. She's coming back in. We're going to be reviewing the 2009 remake of the horror slasher movie Friday the 13th. We're going to be doing that at 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific Time. And then A-Town Reviews and I are going to be doing They Live. Are you going to be on that one for us, Charlie? Or
I'm not sure.
Okay. So put a possible maybe for Charlie, but A-Town and I will actually be there on Monday to review They Live, which is the John Carpenter movie. That's going to be at 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific Time for that one. Of course, guys, go on ahead and here's the thing. I want you guys to click the link below. And if you guys can, donate a couple of dollars to St. Jude's Children's Cancer. Matter of fact, Two Blur Girls podcast and I teamed up. We're selling Sensies. All the proceeds go over to St. Jude's and everything for kids who have cancer and things like that. So go ahead and do that. Another thing too is if you guys want an audio only podcast episode, you guys can get that wherever you guys get your podcast from. Also too, rate us on Good Pods, and that's where you guys can go on ahead, rate us, tell us what you think about our show, give us a 5-star review. That actually helps. Do not do 4. Okay, I'll take 4, but seriously, give us 5. But comment, tell us what you think about our show. Also too, go on ahead and head over to Movie Lovers Unit on Twitter underneath the same name and everything too as well. So another thing too is you guys can go on Instagram to follow us over there underneath the same brand name on Instagram and Facebook and Pinterest underneath the same name of Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite over there. We don't have a domain anymore as far as movieloversunite.com or anything like that. So with that being said, you might have to look us up through Wix on that way for right now, but I'm hoping to get the domain back up and running again soon. So that's everywhere that you can follow us at and everything. I do appreciate you, Charlie, for being on tonight and everything, and us just talking about the Arnold movies and his filmography. I had a blast doing it. We are definitely going to review some Arnie movies now. So, all right. So with that being said, guys, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. Always until next time, guys. Bye-bye.